The unrelenting advancement of science and technology in every direction over time inevitably reveals the secrets of the universe. But despite thousands of years of knowledge and experience, there persists things that cannot be reasonably explained, phenomena that there are no answers for. Cutting-edge futuristic technology and the fear of what may still be lurking out there in the darkness. It is at this intersection of the ever-expanding known and the consistent unknown that inspiration is found. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Supernaturals. Thank you to Wargaming for sponsoring this video and for their new in-game collaboration with Hasbro that brings G.I. Joe into the world of tanks. This is content designed for fans like us. World of Tanks is a free-to-play PC game, and now the G.I. Joe and Cobra Premium package is available for purchase. It includes the G.I. Joe Breakthrough Tank style and the Cobra Battle Operation Assault Tank style. Both of these designs have been modified with all kinds of details to look like the toys that inspired them. You have a chance to check it out right now. Anyone who uses invite code G.I. Joe 21 and completes the G.I. Joe missions will receive free G.I. Joe and Cobra emblems to customize their tanks. Upon activation of the missions, you get one of each emblem, Joe and Cobra. Collect 15 tokens and you'll get 5 more of each to fully deco a tank. With invite code G.I. Joe 21, you'll get a T14 Tier 5 tank, 500 credits, and 7 days premium access. They say knowing is half the battle, but in this case, knowing is the reason to battle. That's invite code G.I. Joe 21, and thanks again to Wargaming for sponsoring this video. Yo Joe! Supernaturals is a line of action figures created by Tonka and released in 1987. It is one of the most visually striking toy lines of all time, unlike anything else on the market. Except its direct competitor Visionaries, released by Hasbro at the exact same time. Supernaturals is the battle between the forces of good and evil after temporarily leaving our realm and then returning with amazing ghostly powers. See, there is a doorway to another world. That world is called Ghost World, and the doorway is called the Tomb of Doom. For thousands of years, probably even longer, great warriors have sought out the Tomb of Doom. Once found, they enter and without fail are trapped in Ghost World by an entity called Spectre. There, the warriors are granted incredible powers of spectral transformation. However, there's a catch. They can only use those powers upon their return to our realm. No fighting allowed in Ghost World. And return to Earth is arbitrary and only when Spectre permits it. You could come back to any time, any place, maybe the place you left, maybe 1,000 years in the future. Led by a warrior named Skull, the evil warriors Snakebite and Bernhardt jailbreak Ghost World and return to Earth on October 31st, 1987. They are pursued back to the earthly realm by Lionheart and the other heroic warriors, Eagle Eye and Thunderbolt. Both sides of the conflict are assisted by their respective batch of spectral sidekicks called Ghostlings. Skull and Lionheart, still brothers, still princes battling for control of their kingdom of 1,000 years ago. The warriors are no longer physical beings, no longer human. They have all become more than human. They have become Supernaturals. Supernaturals consisted of 6 6-inch action figures with 4 points of articulation, a removable chest plate, a hat, a shield, and a signature glow-in-the-dark weapon. 3 evil warriors, Skull, Bernhardt, and Snakebite, and 3 heroic warriors, Lionheart, Eagle Eye, and Thunderbolt. They were complemented by 8 smaller figures called Ghostlings with 2 points of articulation attached to their interchangeable soft plastic outer robes. Ghostlings had glow-in-the-dark hands and, like the larger figures, glow-in-the-dark weapons. Every figure featured a hologram instead of a face and torso. The larger figures also had holograms on their shields, which reinforced the theme of the specific character. And, as if holograms and glow-in-the-dark effects weren't enough, each face and torso hologram could shift between images representing the transformative supernatural abilities. Supernatural abilities. That's how I wrote it. Lionheart changes from king leader to powerful lion, Thunderbolt from Viking to lightning warrior, Skull from pirate leader to skeleton with X-ray eye, Bernhardt from evil knight to fiery spirit. The Ghostlings changed form as well, Hooter from wizard to wise old owl, Mr. Lucky from magician to giant rabbit, Weird Wolf from weird punk to teenage wolf. Two beasts, the heroic lion wings and the evil dark dragon, helped the heroic and evil warriors get around when they didn't have access to their cars. Because this line was made by Tonka, known for toy cars and trucks, so there was no way they were going to put out a line without magical machines like the Ghost Finder and the Bat Bopper.
Bat Bopper starts the bat attack. Ghost Finder shoots Eagle's back. Fire the ram in ghostly gloom. Follow the skull to the tomb of doom. Put Evil's skull in the creepy coffin. Turn the key, the ghost world's got him. Spiders, bats, and snakes appear. The way to the ghost world is full of fear. Is it a ghost? Is it a man? Ah! It's a hologram.
The beasts, the cars, and even the Tomb of Doom playset were adorned with holograms to tie the whole line together with science and magic. Because as much as holograms are a creation of this world, they look like they're from that world. Holograms were everywhere in the 1980s. Stickers, trading cards, watches, pendants, keychains, other action figures. Did I say stickers? Basically anything you could stick a sticker to, because as cool as they were, there wasn't really anything else you could do with holograms. It was a gimmick, yeah, but it was briefly a very hot gimmick. A quick way to distinguish a toy line from the rest of the pack. Figures and vehicles that were essentially just posable plastic picture frames for holograms. It was an economical way to offset the production cost of those holograms that were the actual draw for the line. Holograms were eye-catching and fascinating in a way that tickled both sides of the brain. Kids knew that holograms were somehow created by lasers. However they were made, with whatever technology, the result looked like magic. It looked like the future. Supernaturals were packed with a very short mini-comic that told the very general story of the world, just barely enough to set the stage before your imagination ran with whatever ideas you had already come up with prior to making a purchase. Good guys, bad guys, conflict, when you hear the bell, come out swinging. There were a few other licensed items available, but no prominent mainstream presence like so many of their contemporaries and competitors. For example, Hasbro rolled out both a 13-episode animated series and 6 issues of a comic book series from Marvel for Visionaries. A Supernaturals Halloween special is mentioned in promotional materials, but never happened. That said, all the promotion into Visionaries didn't help them stick around any longer than Supernaturals. Holograms had proven that they weren't worth the additional cost to stick to your toys. At least not these toys. Both lines expired as holograms migrated over to the exclusive domain of fraud prevention mechanisms. Supernaturals didn't get cartoon or comic book support in the US, but it did get a short-run comic book series in the UK. The series preview issue hit the stands in October of 1987 as a free complement to your copy of books like 2000 AD or Eagle. Supernaturals was published by Fleetway Publications on a fortnightly schedule, that's every 2 weeks. It ran for 10 issues, the preview plus 9 regular issues, as well as a summer special and an adventure book. Writers and artists on the series treated it like it was a big deal, like Supernaturals was as big as Transformers or G.I. Joe or Masters of the Universe. The quality of the work put into this book exceeds the quality of the figures themselves. Artists like Ian Kennedy, Sandy James, Alan Langford, Jim Watson, and Anthony Williams. James Tomlinson handled some of the writing duties, but the other creators, to this day, remain mysteriously unknown. Instead of one continuing story, Supernaturals was an anthology series with several short stories in each book. Some of those stories stood alone, others ran the course of the series, concluding in the final issue. It is here that the story escapes our earthly realm, crossing over into the darkness, and pulls the strings of spectral fantasy, transcending the brand and holography gimmick, an unexpected detour into the domain of nightmares. Some of the Supernaturals comic art and writing echoed that of the horror comics of the 1950s. EC comics like Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, and The Haunt of Fear. The kind of books that were so intense that it resulted in the creation of the Comics Code Authority to prevent children from being exposed to their contents. One particular story called The Doll had such a profound impact on writer Matt Wesolowski that he credits it with crystallizing his foray into the world of horror. Quote, "When I tried to sleep, I saw that face, felt the presence of that relentless, indestructible creature. The terror that comic strip induced in me has never truly left me. When I am writing and need to summon something from that bubbling black pit at the depths of my imagination, it is the doll's face that leers up at me from those dark waters. It is that fear that I strive to induce in my readers." End quote. The Doll is a story about a ventriloquist dummy that seems to have a life of its own, as well as a vendetta against the living. Released a year before Child's Play hit theaters, this story begins as two brothers, Simon and David, move in with foster parents who are still grieving over the death of a child they had previously fostered. As David and Simon get settled into their new room, David finds an old trunk with the doll inside. When he shows the foster parents, they are shocked and angered to see it again, assuming it was long gone. They attempt to dispose of it. When the boy's foster father returns, he tells his wife that the doll scratched him when he put it in the trash. He insists that it is evil and unnatural. The first chapter ends with the ghoulish face of the doll as it rises up from the trash with menace in its eyes. The doll terrorizes the family, strangling Simon, burning him, possessing his brother. They make several attempts to destroy it, but it is a thing that cannot be killed, only, hopefully, escaped. The doll has nothing to do with the Supernatural's toys and makes you wonder if it was something intended for a different book originally, or if Supernaturals could have gone in a different direction as an anthology series if it had survived the end of the toy line. But its legacy remains deeply seated into readers like Matt. In his own words, quote, "Digging about online, even contacting the publishing group has revealed no credit for the writer or even the artist of the doll. This creates a suitable aura of mystery around it. Even today, that thing's face sends a chill through me. Whoever drew it managed to capture a cruel malevolence, a sneering horror I have never seen replicated in a visual form," end quote. There is no Supernaturals reboot, no remastered DVD collection, no modern mature reinvention of the line. There is no IDW Artists Edition collection of the comics. They will not be popping up as Mortal Kombat DLC skins. Heck, even Visionaries with their high-profile cartoon and character development haven't fared much better over the decades. Hasbro has attempted to bring them back on more than one occasion, but can't seem to shed the demand for holograms nor give fans a reason to care without them. Holograms that once seemed futuristic now, from the future, are relics of the past, their entertainment value limited and only observable under the proper conditions, a detriment to the functionality of the rest of the figure, novelty lost on a modern audience. Supernaturals are a vague recollection in a cloud of vague recollections. Action figures and vehicles passed over for brands that stood the test of time, passed over for figures that weren't so inextricably tied to a spectacular fad. They were a technological curiosity that could not escape their own gimmick, their fate sealed in a tomb of their own dooming. The good news is the audio's running. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you haven't heard, we started a second channel called Toy Galaxy 2, that's TOO. Head over there and subscribe for stuff we don't post here. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon or become a YouTube channel member. Please share this video and let us know in the comments down below if you ever knew Supernaturals was a thing. Did you know about the comics? Have you been haunted by the doll since you were 8? Seriously, let us know if you had ever read that and if it struck you the same way it struck Matt. And as long as we're admitting things that scared us as a kid, I was convinced that Darth Vader and a single stormtrooper lived under my bed at night until I was like 6 years old. I'm over it now. I know there's not enough space under there for those guys, not without some kind of magic portal or ethereal doorway or something like that.
Cut.